on June 12. Okay. Let's start with, we're going to be taking a look at the 22 years of democracy and an overview of it, but let's start with the president's comment in his address yesterday that his administration the past 2 years, not 2 years, this should be the 7th year, that is the second year in his second tenure, has lifted 10.5 million people out of poverty in the past 2 years. In your view, can you feel that, especially with what's going on? Let's not talk about security, the economy right now. Things are, the price of goods and services have been on all-time high.
Yeah. Well, it's very good to acknowledge the fact that this is our first anniversary of democracy coming to after 1999. Because the agitation have always been that June 12 is a significant year that marks a truly defined, free and fairest election. So we must first congratulate Nigerians to have come this far, and we must thank Mr. President for giving and acknowledging that struggle. Be that as it may, that does not remove the pains, the agony, the feels of good governance that Nigerians voted for. The challenges have been so high. Painfully, the demographic of the nation can't even be, we don't have the authoritative numbers of our population as at this day. Because the last time our population census were conducted, it was marred with irregularity. So we've always been working on congestion. So if Mr. President mentioned 10.5 million. I'm sure there should be the numbers, names, local government to be situated in each and every local government and area. But to us, we are not in contention with how many people that have been lifted, but it's quite acknowledged that our economy is bad. Yes, and this has always been a growing challenge. Being acknowledged as poverty capital of the world shows that there is a need for us to really buckle up. These are no times for us to appraise ourselves that maybe for clapping, because it's a tense period for sober reflection in terms of the height of insecurity, height of economic downturn, and all these issues are bedeviling us as a nation. So crisscrossing into that point of appraising that number, to me, I'm sure the speechwriter of Mr. President needs to be very careful in choosing numbers, in trying to have a numerical review of what they are putting to Nigeria, because that in its own self will put Mr. President in conflict with the reality. Because when you talk about reality, we cannot grab the 10 million. Where are the Nigerian youths? The unemployment is growing high. Mr. President himself acknowledged the heightened rate of unemployment. So if it is there, there is no need for us to frown ignorance, or feign ignorance that all is well. The only thing we can do is for us to call ourselves together. These are ailing period. Nothing should be staged in order to aggravate the pains that we already been to. But we must come together. We must come to reason. If I have to say, okay, I have to reply, Mr. President will be saying the lamentations that we've been used to. A lot of us have been coming to express lamentation, but there is still light at the end of the tunnel. What we need to do is for us to acknowledge, okay, which area. Mr. President have acknowledged bringing governance directly to the local government. Then let us go to our state governors to give us the local government that we so desire in a democracy. So if that tier of government is recognized, Mr. President can now tell us that we have lifted 10 or 100 million Nigerian youth out of poverty. You go to your local government, you know how many is being lifted per each local government. But when our local government themselves are apron bags of our governors, and they have no independence of their financing, they have no independence of their governance structures. So it brings us into this cocoon of issues every now and then. So what we need to lay to the fore is the way forward. How do we stabilize our democracy? There's no perfect constitution globally, but we need to bring ourselves out of this military decree that is being foisted on us. If that is the only thing this administration will add to its achievement, because this administration have added the fact that June 12 agitation from Jonathan to Obasanjo to Yar'Adua, none of them acknowledge June 12. Yes, that alone, we will not have said, oh, it is out of crocodile tears. No, this is a conscientious agitation that we need June 12 as our democracy day. That has been provided for. But the lessons, the real essence of our democracy is not just going to that election, or not the ritual of that election, but the aftermath of that election for the next 4 years. How much have we fed for the past 22 years now? What is our landmarks? The corruption index is high. The debt burden is unbearable for our whole generation to come in as a baton to continue with. So this government need a whole lot of retooling.
Now, we're going to take a look at some of these areas specifically, but
yes.
Let's join our virtual guest, Barrister Owolabi Peters, talking to us from Bagada. Now, let's have your view. Now, we're starting with economy, obviously, where the president on Saturday said his administration has lifted 10.5 million people out of poverty in the past 2 years. How does this reflect on the economy as we discuss 22 years of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Barrister Dotun has rightly pointed. You see, it's not about you giving figures. It's about that figure being brought about by the normal agency that's supposed to do that. Mr. President is even supposed to tell us by himself. The economy will show. Today, Nigerians are not happy. The economy is not perfect at all. We are not having the best. The economy is not what it should be. And that is because of the way the country is being run. Let's look at it. If you want to give us what Nigerians deserve at this time, we are not supposed to be where we are now. The people running the economy, that's the government, they are not actually carrying the people along. The Nigerian masses are seriously complaining. Mr. President needs to take a look, sit down with his economic team. What do we need to do? We need to invest in education. We need to invest in infrastructure. We need to make the people that comes out from school have good jobs. And how do we do this? Industries has to be created. When people are coming out from school, there should be jobs available for them. But I can tell you those figures, I cannot tell you how they come out. Those figures are actually not true. The reality of the day does not match up with those figures. And I think it is high time this government sit down, the economic team, to look at it and then do something to make a proper change to that.
Compared to the military era, it looks like the economy has been in shambles since we came into democracy. What do you think is responsible for that? Because it is not really about the style of leadership here. It looks more like the persons in power.
Of course, 22 years already of interrupted power democracy. One, today, the benefits, what we have achieved should be speaking for themselves. You know, at the time where the military interruptions were coming up, people were saying there was no consistency in government. That one government starts, after 8 years, the other government comes, it does not continue on the policies, on the development the other government has been carrying on. But now we have uninterrupted 22 years. Look at what we have today. It is a very far cry from what we should have. Comparing from the chunk of money that are being budgeted for every year, that have been budgeted for every administration. And you see that we are not getting even half of what should be of ground. I'm talking about the economy, infrastructure, development, and all foreign investment. You know, we don't have to start letting ourselves or rob or not say it as it is. We are not where we are supposed to be. And that is because of the leadership that we have today. A lot has to be worked on. I'm sure you guys, you understand what I'm talking about. A lot is not right in the country right now. I don't want to start going about simple rule of law. I don't want to start going about not respecting court orders. I don't want to start going about chasing innocent protesters. Do you understand? So that is an agitation. It shows you how bad the people feel about how the country is being run today. So a lot has to be done, as I said. But compared to the military, I think this administration, this democracy has not achieved what it's supposed to achieve or put out for the Nigerian people in 22 years.